Hello there, Teen Gerwell. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're talking about Topic 9, Lesson 5, and our learning target today is I can determine common multiples and least common multiples of numbers. Here are some vocabulary words for the day. Our first one is multiple. That means the product of any number and a whole number. An example would be multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, keeps going and going and going. Common multiple is a number that is a multiple shared by two or more numbers. And least common multiple, sometimes we'll talk about the LCM. Well, the least common multiple is two or more numbers that share a multiple. Here's your problem of the day. Use the list the multiples strategy to find the LCM, or the least common multiple, of 8 and 20. The list the multiples strategy is actually multiplying each of the numbers by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully you don't have to go further than that, but you might have to sometimes. So I create a table for myself so I can keep my numbers organized. So here we have 8, and here we have our 20. These are our two numbers that we need to find the least common multiple for. So we're going to go through and multiply each of these by the number above. So 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, 8 times 5 is 40, and 8 times 6 is 48. Now let's do the 20s. 20 times 2 is 40, 20 times 3 is 60, 20 times 4 is 80, 20 times 5 is 100, and 20 times 6 is 120. So now we need to look and see what is the lowest multiple that both 8 and 20 have in common. Do you see one? I do. It's 40. So the least common multiple of 8 and 20 is 40. Now that's one way to go ahead and find the least common multiple, but I'm going to show you another trick that's a little bit easier. It's called the make a cake strategy. Sound familiar? That's because it's what we've been doing all this week anyway, but you're going to do a little something on the end that will help you find the least common multiple. Just remember L for least. So what we're going to do is on the bottom of our cake, we're going to write 8, 20. So now we need to think about what can go into 8 and can go into 20. What number will divide evenly into 8 and 20? Any ideas? Well, they're both even, so we could start with 2, but we're going to start with 4 because 4 is also in common. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So we have another layer on the cake. Is there anything else that we can divide evenly into 2 and 5? All we can do is 1. So up on top, our smoochy smooch is 2 and 5. But we have to do something a little bit different now to find the least common multiple. You're going to draw an L, except it's a little upside down, okay? So if you turn your head to the right, does it look like an L? Yeah, okay. So now what you're going to do is all of the numbers that are in your L, you're going to multiply together to find the least common multiple. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 5 is 40. So yes, the least common multiple here is 40. So now find the least common multiple of 12 and 16. Go ahead and use either strategy that works for you. Pause the video and then come back and I'll show you how I got my answer. Okay, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get 48? Let's see how I got that answer. Well, if you do the tables or the multiplying by the multiples, then this is what your table would look like. You do 12 times 2, which is 24, 12 times 3, which is 36. So all these numbers are your multiples of 12, and all these numbers are your multiple of 16. So then we have to look and see what numbers do they have in common, and what is the lowest number that they have in common. Well, 48 would be the least common multiple of 12 and 16. Or you could do it the make a cake strategy. So again, we write 12 and 16 in our lower part of the cake, and we know that because they're both evens, we can divide them by 2. So we get 6 and 8. but we know we can still divide those by 2. So we'll go up another layer on our cake, and now we have 3 and 4. Can you can you divide 3 and 4 by anything? Just 1. So we're going to draw our L, and then what do? That's right, we multiply everything that is inside our L. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 1 is 4, times 3 is 12, and then 12 times 4 is 48. So our least common multiple of 12 and 16 is 48. Here are tonight's practice problems. I want you to find the least common multiple of the following pairs. You can do it either way that works for you. In fact, you could do it one way and do it the other way to check it if you wanted to. So go ahead and stop the video and come back when you're ready for the answers. All right, coming back with the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here are your answers for tonight's practice problems. Go ahead and check and see if you got the same answer. And if you didn't, go back and rewatch the strategies again and rework the problems that you missed. Again, make sure you checked your work and you wrote how many you got correct. Be honest, it is not for a grade. Honestly, fill out the self-reflection. Could you teach a friend, or are you still confused? And then fill in the space with any questions you still have. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you in the morning. Bye-bye.